Hello. I'd like to share my testimony, and I'm just going to jump right in. When I was raised in a Christian household, so there's learning things, learning stories, um, learning what behaviors should be displayed, and so forth. What I also learned is that imperfect people set aside their pride and are humble before others and before God, and they seek to depend on God to please Him, to please God, and to be genuine, again, with yourself, with others, and with God. And it's setting God as a priority. And what I mean by God, I mean Jesus. And when I was 11, I went to a preteen youth camp, and I made the decision for myself then. I had heard the message, and I really believe that Jesus is who He claims to be, that He is God, and that He loves me, and that He's proven that time and time again, not just in my life, but in the past, and ultimately what His plans are for the future, that they're full of hope. And He has always pursued me when I've strayed away, even after receiving Him as my Lord and Savior when I was 11. He's always pursued me. I would seek my own way, kind of fall into patterns of poor choices that were harmful either to me or others, in emotional ways, just in any kind of, every way, spiritually, everything. And time and time again, even now, there's just being selfish at times and prideful. And it kind of comes down to that, because God is love, and He wants us to care for the things that He cares for, and He cares for people. And hard to care for people when you're selfish. So I think all of us, even Christians, all of us humans are struggling with pride and selfishness. And a lot of those times that causes us to run away from God. And for me, since I'm sharing my personal life and experiences, I got to a point where I would try to check off boxes, and it wasn't such a relationship. It was more of a to-do list. And God saw through that. And I mean, there are consequences for not being loyal in a relationship, and the relationship just drifts. And it wasn't on God's end, it was on my end. And He pursued me time and time again through either people or circumstances or a song. And I had gone to a concert one time that I didn't even plan on going to. And that, again, just divine appointments where He was pursuing me, kind of spiritually tapping me on the shoulder. You are my child. You have been. I haven't left you. And so I have learned over time to just depend on God more and more, for He is my source. Jesus is my source of everything. And the more I acknowledge Him in my life, I mean, you can't say you worship something or call something Lord if you don't even acknowledge them. I mean, I would think it at least starts with that, acknowledging Him, having Him as your priority. And that means one. That means first, and giving Him your attention first, over yourself. And I'm doing that more, and I'm not going to achieve any kind of perfection, but I'm learning to set aside my pride in a faster rate than I had been. And so from that, I can say I have matured, because I am getting out of my own way now for him to work through me. And that is not to benefit myself. It blesses me. I mean, he's so gracious that when we obey him and we're not selfish, I mean, we do reap benefits from that, but that's because he's good. I mean, that's just who he is. You hang out with a good friend, like, they're gonna bless you, because that's just who they are. They're just they're loving on you. And it's the same thing, but obviously he's sovereign and supreme and above all, and everything came through him. And so, long story short, I'm learning even through marriage, and different stages of life that I'm just in my own way a lot, and to just step aside, seek God. He's gonna seek me out too if I go astray, but ultimately, the quicker you get back on that road to searching for him, the better everything will be, because it is not wrapped up in fear, and perfect love casts out fear. And when you are, again, it's like having a good friend that influences you good and keeps you out of trouble. But this is way more intense than that, because it's spiritual and it's eternal and it's divine and so forth. But I just wanted to share my testimony, I believe, just to clarify that, just God's good, and he has a plan for everyone, and he loves everyone, and he wants us to love them too. And it's by being real and genuine with ourselves and others, and especially with God, despite however we are feeling, just to talk to him